Hi everyone, thank you so much for coming to tonight's seminar, a seminar about Global Citizen Year and also the Take Action Lab. My name is Lily Pang and I will be your host for tonight. And we are really lucky to be joined by Allison Yuan, who is our guest speaker, as well as an alumni from this program, Alexander Ye. But before we hear from them, I'm going to give a brief introduction of AFI and YEFA. Starting off with AFI, which is short for Alliance for Impact. Our mission is to empower Asian Americans to participate and positively impact the community through knowledge sharing, collaboration cross-culturally, and overall working with the goal to inspire. Specifically, we have the TCPC, which is the Center of Parents and Children, which is one of the core units in AFI. Our mission is high-quality parenting education, so we are dedicated to help parents to grow and raise children with love, intelligence, life, and dream to be more empowered citizens for a challenging future. As for our impact, AFI has built a community of more than 50,000 people with over 140 group chats, over 200 online events annually, and we also provided $5.8 million worth of PPE to the tri-state New York region. On top of that, we've trained over 3,000 students through the AFI Academy and much more. Under AFI, we have YEFA, which is an IRS-approved 501c3 nonprofit organization. Notably, YEFA is self-operated. This structure allows students to act as leaders and run the majority of YEFA's operations, of course with the guidance of adult advisors. Broadly speaking, YEFA's mission is to instill hard skills relating to entrepreneurship, finance, and business, but also soft skills like management into the youth, who can then apply these skills to real-world situations and create meaningful change. YEFA achieves this through a few core ways. One is by providing top quality resources and guidance to students to help them achieve exceptional results in business-related competitions such as the Wharton Investment Competition, Diamond Challenge, and more. In addition, YEFA provides students with a vibrant community of like-minded, equally passionate people. We regularly host seminars like these, which guest speakers and industry professionals give students valuable insights into their first-hand experiences in. With that, we strongly encourage all students to join YEFA and AFI. We will have the Discord linked in the chat, and also WeChat codes posted throughout the seminar. Again, this is a great opportunity to engage and discuss with like-minded peers to build hard and soft skills if you are a youth, a student, or even a parent looking for an opportunity for their children. With that being said, for our seminar today, like I mentioned, we're joined by Allison Yuan. Allison Yuan brings a wealth of experience in both nonprofit and youth development sectors, domestically within the US and also internationally in Australia and New Zealand. Championing principles of access and equity, she has spearheaded initiatives to empower marginalized communities through leadership cultivation, economic empowerment, fostering self-efficacy among youth, and much more. Today, she will share an amazing opportunity, the Take Action Lab. This seminar will first begin with a slideshow presentation by Allison, and then a conversation with an alumni, Alexander Ye. Finally, we'll conclude with an audience Q&A where you can ask any questions. So throughout the seminar, please feel free to drop any questions you may have in the chat box so we can get those answered for you at the end. In addition, please indicate whether you would like Alex or Allison to answer the question. So, without further ado, please help me welcome Allison. Take it away.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Lily. I am so honored to be here with you all. Thank you for taking time out of your Friday nights to listen to us talk about our program. So, as Lily graciously said, I am Allison. I'm with Global Citizen Year, and I'm here tonight to talk to you about our Take Action Lab program. All right, so who is Global Citizen Year? We have been around as a nonprofit since 2010. We very much believe in the nonprofit space, and we are unlocking potential in young people to change the world and create meaningful change. We offer a program, have offered variations of said program since our founding, and Harvard research has really backed us up and shown that what we're doing is actually meaningful. Young people before and after our program have been surveyed, and it's been found statistically significant to increase students' mental health, their well-being, sense of purpose, global perspective, and preparedness for their college and career. I'm going to go on my first of possibly many tangents. And I want to say that one thing I love the most about Global Citizen Year is the space that it occupies. Whether it's Global Citizen Year, whether it's another organization, what I believe some of the value of our work is really highlighting that there are options beyond just the pipeline of high school straight to college. We offer an opportunity to take maybe a breather, a chance to differentiate between maybe the norm and the expected, instead of maybe living by the bell schedule, the calendar schedule of your schools. Really having time after you graduate high school to kind of figure out what you want to do with yourself, what you're passionate about. If you're able to do it, really help you instill that confidence to show that, yes, you can do what you want, and it's actually more accessible than you might think it is. It's not as scary. But anyway, I did my year of service after college, and I greatly wish that I had something like Global Citizen Year to tell me that there were options to really figure out what I wanted to do with my life and meet other people who were similarly interested before I went off to college, because I think it would have helped me take it a little bit more seriously. I think the sense of purpose I would have had, I would have been better prepared for college and definitely for the real world afterwards. So that's my first of many tangents. That's my disclaimer. I apologize, and I'll just keep going. All right, so our alumni network is quite large. As you can see from this map, all the countries highlighted in green are where our alumni are from. So pretty global. And what I think is really beautiful about that is that we bring everyone together. You get to be a part of this community with other young people who are amazing, who earn awards and honors and are employed at some really cool organizations like Fulbright, Tesla, the Gates Millennium Scholars, Ashoka, Teach for America, and United Nations. And that's, of course, not naming all of them, just highlighting a few. But I think that really speaks to the caliber of the young people who get to participate in and then make meaningful change in the world around them. So why some of our students have applied for this immersive semester. Some of the things that they have indicated is that they're interested in self-discovery, personal growth. They're hoping to gain new perspectives about the world, about their communities. They're looking to explore different cultures, develop some skills, be prepared for college, and also explore some careers. And so some of the goals or some of the things that we focus on addressing all of that is the self-discovery and global orientation. So self-awareness. So how do you show up for places? How does your identity impact your world and your perspective? Your well-being, like how do we take care of our spirits, our bodies, our minds, and how does that affect how we interact with others and communities? Our sense of purpose, so really defining a strong sense of personal sense of belonging and meaning, and global orientation, so interrelatedness, the different layers that we all have and bring to the world, and how that with the other layers of the world, how does that affect ourselves, and what does that mean for our planet, communities, and spaces? Excuse me. Also helps with, we work on global perspective taking, so really being able to cultivate the ability to understand and appreciate folks with other perspectives and views, as well as being empathetic and really listening from the heart and understanding instead of a place of judgment or criticism. We really want to make sure that we're able to put ourselves in somebody else's shoes to really be as open as possible. So that brings us to Take Action Lab. So this is our newest iteration of our program. What is Take Action Lab, you may ask? It is a 4-month-long program. It consists of a 1-month foundations building process, which is online. I'll get more to that later. And then 3 months you'll spend in Cape Town, South Africa, doing a human rights apprenticeship. Our opportunity is available for high school graduates all around the world between the ages of 17 and 21. And I can talk to you all about it, but I think it's better if you get to hear it from the young people themselves. So I'm going to go ahead and play this video.
Take Action Lab is an opportunity for students from around the world to come together here in Cape Town and contribute to the community by apprenticing at different nonprofit humanitarian locations for 3 months.
Cape Town is a hub of history and culture, the perfect setting to turn intent into positive impact. An opportunity to borrow from all of my learnings working in social justice throughout high school and put them into action under the apprenticeship of people who truly work at the forefront of their disciplines in education and development.
I'm seeking to connect with human rights advocates from around the world and develop skills needed to fight for social justice.
I am confident that the Take Action Lab will serve as an accelerator program that will force me to step out of my comfort zone.
It's time to take action to find my purpose in life and become a real leader and to share with amazing people with great ideas.
Not to mention the historical and social significance of Cape Town will only add to my education, and it will make me a more confident and profound journey into the nonprofit industry. So I hope to see you in Cape Town, South Africa.
Okay. So that's a little bit of why some of our young people have applied. Oh, excuse me. There we go. All right. So where is Cape Town? What is it? As you can see from this map, some of us may know where it is, some of us may not, and that's okay. It is in South Africa, the southernmost country of the African continent. And as you can see from this picture, it is a vibrant city. It is a coastal city. It is gorgeous. It is a very metropolitan area where people from around the world work, live, and interact. It also has a very rich history, especially in injustice in the last several decades and the recency of the apartheid. And so I think that is especially what makes Cape Town and Take Action Lab really work together in our human rights focus. As you can see from this picture, that mountain in the middle of this metropolitan is Table Mountain and gorgeous. So you have the water, the mountains, the sports, all the different activities you could possibly want. And there are also penguins, which are adorable and beautiful. And I don't know how anyone could not love penguins. So that's a big plus, I think. All right, about the program itself. Again, it spans 4 months. So the first month is this foundations building. So that is done at home. You don't have to go anywhere. It is 4 weeks long, and it's a chance for you to meet some instructors, you meet your cohort. It's a time for us to really work on ourselves as individuals, figure out who we are, how we show up to spaces. Also as a cohort, as a community, how are we supporting each other, creating like a growth mindset kind of outlook together. And then also really learning about Cape Town, learning about South Africa, trying to understand maybe the recency and the history and maybe what to do to prepare ourselves for when we get there. That is our foundations course. And so then the next part of the journey, the next 3 months, you will land in Cape Town. You'll get picked up and brought to your accommodations by our staff. And we do a week-long orientation where you get to kind of really explore the area. You get to stay in this place called the Observatory, which is a neighborhood not too far from Cape Town, and it's right by the university. So you get to meet other students, entrepreneurs, there's shops, restaurants, thrift shops, everything that gets to happen in country, of course. And then we have your apprenticeship. So you will get to work with a host mentor for your apprenticeship, where you'll show up there 4 days a week, really getting to experience the work that they're doing. You're going to understand a little bit more about the community that they're serving. You'll interact with it. You'll also get to interact with your colleagues and peers and really understand what it's like to work and make a meaningful impact with human rights organizations in Cape Town. We'll also have Learning Reconnect, so we'll have guest speakers and field trips to really understand maybe more about Cape Town and the history of South Africa, and how it is such a pivotal spot in this time. And then we also have a cultural series. So you're not just working and learning the whole time, you're also getting to experience music, dance, food, art, people. We also want to make sure that you're getting the full experience while you're there. And then in the final week of our program, we have our reflection. So it's where we spend time really talking about our stories, talking about what we've learned, talking about, you know, how that's really impacted ourselves, how we see the world, how we see each other, but then also then thinking about how we apply what we've now learned to our lives back home, what we choose to do next with our lives, with our school, with professional careers, whatever it is. We really want to make sure that we're thinking about what we've learned and taking away from this program. So I might have jumped the gun a little bit, but here is a little bit of where you'd be living in the observatory neighborhood. So you can see there's like street art, cafes, shops, all of that. And then on the side, you can also see pictures of the accommodation. So you'll be living, not all 50 of you will live in the same space, but you'll be living very close by to each other. And each one of you will have your own room, but we'll have shared kitchens, dining space, living room space. So if you want to unplug a little bit and kind of just be alone to recharge, you're welcome to do that. You're also welcome to have as many conversations as you want with the rest of your neighbors, flatmates in this space, and share meals and share stories about your experience as you're experiencing them. And these are some of the fields that we have our apprenticeships at. I believe we have a database of about 50 different organizations that we work with. So there's different types of work that we can do, some in the education space, some of them in refugee and migration, food security, youth engagement, and women's empowerment. We have a range of different apprenticeship spaces that our young people get to work at. And then again, this is kind of what some of our closing ceremonies look like, really kind of coming together and being present and celebrating this experience. All right, I will get to the application details. This is a little bit of a lot on the screen, and I'm happy to put this back up at the end if you guys want to reference it, or I can share this out later. But I want to name up front that the cost of our program is $21,000, which can be overwhelming for some. And that's why I also want to name that we have need-based financial aid and scholarships that are really important for us to make sure that this program is accessible for people who maybe can't outright afford it. We really do focus on and prioritize diversity and inclusion in our program, and we want to make sure that everybody who wants to be in this program and is a good fit, that we're able to get folks to do it. Who is eligible? Anyone worldwide who has graduated high school between the ages of 17 and 21. So if that's you, you should apply. If you know people, they should apply, tell them. Program dates, the next coming one is this fall. It is starting in August and goes till December. The spring one starts in February and runs till May. And the most important part is if you do want to do these programs, you do have to apply and before the deadline. So April 19th, that is 2 weeks from today, is the final deadline for the fall term. So if you want to go in August, make sure you apply soon. If you're interested in the spring term, the one that starts in February next year, you have time. The priority deadline is the same. So it's like 2 weeks from now. That's when you should do that. Otherwise, the regular deadline, if you're, needing more time, you have time. You don't have to apply until September for that one. So if you have any questions, this is my email address. You can email me or you can email our admissions team. Either way works. We'll get it and we'll answer your questions. These are some stats. I know you are capable of reading them, but I'm going to read them to you anyway. These are some things that I believe really highlight the equity and what I think I really love also about this program is so 51% of Global Citizen Year students are from low-income backgrounds compared to 16% of gap year participants nationally. I think that really highlights that over half of our young people are receiving financial aid, are interested in and choosing to participate in our program. 46% of Global Citizen Year students are people of color, and 16% compared to 16% of those participants nationally. So I also think that means that we're really focusing on making sure our cohorts are diverse, are equitable, and bringing this opportunity to everyone. And then, I love this one the most, 80% of Global Citizen Year students receive need-based financial aid. So again, like if that $21,000 is a lot, please just apply. We have financial aid, we want you. And 30% of our students also get a full ride. So there's that. And then lastly, here we are. If you would like to follow us, these are our social media handles. This first QR code is for some additional resources. I can plug that link in the chat if that's helpful, as well as this WeChat over here. That one you can scan and message us if you have questions, want follow-ups, all of that, that's there. All right, I think that is it for me. It says questions, but I'm actually not going to take those yet because that'll be at the end. I would like to invite Alex. Let me stop sharing. There we go. I would love to invite Alex to come on and so I can ask him some questions. Would you like to open your camera? Hey, Alex.
Okay, I think there might be some technical difficulties. So in the meantime, I see a question. So do you want to kind of start with the audience Q&A while Alex is figuring out his tech stuff, and then we
Yeah.
can come back to this?
Let's do
Okay.
that.
Sounds great. So somebody asked, is there a WeChat group for, I guess, like Take Action Lab?
We don't have one yet, but if you scan that code, we might be able to get one started.
Okay, awesome.
Sorry.
Oh, no worries. As a reminder, if you put your question in the chat box, we'll be able to get it answered for you. We know that this program has a lot to offer, so there's many things that, if you want to ask about it, please go ahead and do so. Okay, awesome. Another question that I see is actually about application. So I know you talked about this a little bit, but what do some of like the deadlines look like? So for example, for spring 2025,
Yeah.
or like future years.
Good, yeah. We're accepting applications for this coming fall and then the upcoming spring terms. So again, the final deadline for the fall is April 19th. The priority deadline for the coming spring is also April 19th. And then we're accepting deadlines through September 4th, which I believe is the regular deadline. And then the final deadline for the spring is going to be on October 4th. So you have time, you can think about it if you're not sure, but we'd love to have you apply if you're ready. All right, and I think Alex is ready. We'll come back to these questions, I promise. All right. Hi, Alex.
Hello.
Hi. All right. So Alex is an alum of our program. I'm going to ask him a couple of questions and have him share his experience with you all. Let's get started. So Alex, please tell us where you're based, when you did TAL, and maybe why you chose to apply for the program.
Hey everyone, I'm Alex and I live in New York. So I was on a gap here and I didn't want to just sit around, play video games, and maybe work a job. So I found this program and I applied to it because I thought that it would force me to get out and do something, more significant. I mean, the worst that could happen is I get rejected, right? So
I think you did something pretty significant. So I think mission accomplished. All right, so let's see. What is a specific encounter or memory from your time with Take Action Lab that deeply influenced your worldview and or your future goals?
Oh, there were so many fun memories. I remember once we went to the beach to see penguins. Me and my friends went paragliding. Me and my friends also went bungee jumping. And there were some more important ones, like the time that we climbed some mountains. So in Cape Town, where we went, there were 3 peaks, which is Table Mountain, Devil's Peak, and Lion's Head, which is kind of crazy. It was an all-day hike, but I did it not once, but 3 times. And living with people in Cape Town from all over the world gave me a taste of their culture. And it was something that I experienced firsthand. And it was different than just reading about it or hearing about these cultures. There was Indian, Latin American, Brazilian, Ukrainian culture. And I got to hear their stories and connect with all of them on like this personal level. I guess the assumption is that other people are really different than you. Maybe you assume they have different parents and different childhoods, but honestly, their experiences were kind of similar. Like their parents' values were pretty similar to mine. And as to my future, seeing all these cultures made me excited to travel. I wanted to get out there and explore instead of being confined to this little area in New York where I lived.
That's great. I think it's great to get out besides our own areas, our own parts of the country, and to meet other people. That's beautiful. All right. Could you share with us how your Take Action Lab experience helped you grow as a person, or how it contributed to your personal growth and development? Could you offer maybe a story about one of your experiences?
Yeah, so the biggest way that it helped me grow was it made me realize how many amazing things I could do. Like it wasn't just me who doubted them myself, but a lot of people. The first time we were trying to climb those mountains, we didn't really even think we could do one, but we ended up doing all of them. And that goes to show that if you push your mind to it, if you try stuff, you might be able to do a lot more than you realize. But it goes beyond just climbing mountains. For example, later on, we got to go bungee jump, which is really scary. But I know that a lot of people would have been afraid to do it, but they did it. And the question is, where does that confidence come from? And I think the answer is that all these little things stack up. So when people start to believe they can do more things, they end up doing it. So just don't be too scared,
I like that. Being a little bit brave to trying new things. I've heard you talk about your experience with Take Action Lab and how it allowed you to join a community of young people from around the world. Could you share with us how being a part of this global community impacted you?
Yeah, the most important thing was that it made us feel, all of us, it made us feel good because we were all together. A lot of this was from this newfound confidence, like I said, and it stacks up. Maybe this confidence is enough to ask your teacher a question or learning how to hold conversations better with people. And in the end, you develop a closer and a deeper group of friends that all support each other. And that's exactly what happened in Cape Town. I made friends and we support each other. But more than that, we shared our cultures as well. On the final days of our journey in Cape Town, I remember eating Indian food cooked by my friends. And we sat down and we scooped the food directly from our hands into our mouths. And I reminisced about the first time we did that. The first time we did this and they made Indian food, I remember asking, how am I supposed to eat this food? They didn't give me a spoon, no fork, no chopsticks either. And I was supposed to just scoop it with my hands. And I thought that was crazy. Like your hands, And I remember they recorded, they laughed when I tried to pinch all the rice and the vegetables in my mouth. But now it's normal for me and I know how to do it right. So the takeaway is that it's more than just new ways of eating. Rather, that's a metaphor for my growth. Being a part of such a diverse community dismantled my fears and replaced them with this eagerness, this readiness to explore and appreciate other cultures.
That's a great example. What a cool story. I don't know that I would be able to pinch food with my fingers in any successful way. So you'll have to teach me. What's one of the most important lessons or realizations from your Take Action Lab experience that you continue to carry with you?
Well, I know that I talked a lot about confidence, but I think it's such an important and overlooked thing. I know what a lot of people are thinking though, which is that, and because I was once in your spot, just sitting here and listening to people talk about some stuff. I used to ignore all these people because I couldn't bother and try to do all these things. I thought it's a waste of time. I don't want to do them because they're hard, And the speaker made it sound so easy. But the truth is that it's not easy. The changes that you make are not going to be easy. In fact, they might be the hardest thing you ever do. I'm not asking everyone to be an extrovert all of a sudden, but I'm saying that you shouldn't let your fear hold you back from seizing opportunities, even if the chance doesn't seem great. So because there's just so many factors and outcomes that you can't consider. And in the end, it's almost always worth it.
Based on your own experiences, what advice would you give to future Take Action Lab participants or folks thinking about applying to help them make the most out of their experience?
Well, the advice is be confident and don't be scared, which is cliche. I know you hear it a lot. But the thing is, well, some of us might already do those things to try and seize opportunities, but none of us, not a single one, is really living up to our full potentials. And without reaching out, you'll never know what you can do. Whether it be trying to talk to that cute guy or girl or applying to Take Action Lab, it's a chance to change and transform your life. And Take Action Lab in Cape Town, you're going to see things you've never seen before, and you're going to interact with people in a way that you've never before. The journey is going to lead you to unexpected places, but happy accidents exist, and they might be even more beautiful than what you intended. At the heart, when you challenge the bounds of your comfort zone, that's when it gets real. You grow in breathtaking ways, and that is truly the essence of living.
That's beautiful. Thank you very much, Alex. That was great. I think, Lily, we are ready for some audience Q&As, and Alex can help answer some if you guys have questions for him as well.
Okay, awesome. So let's get started. All right. So another question that I see is also about the application. So after you submit your application, how will they know if they've gotten accepted or not?
Oh, great question. I didn't name this in the beginning, so I'm glad we're asking this. The application process comes in 3 phases. So the first one, you submit your application before the deadline. The application itself consists of some written questions and a video question, and then we kind of assess, review them all, and in about 2 weeks or so, we're able to get back to you to invite you, some of you all, to phase 2. And phase 2 is where we figure out feasibility. So sometimes it does require health forms, just to make sure that you're in good shape for this and good for the fit for the program. Talking about financial aid, also making sure that if you don't have a passport yet, that you are applying for one so that you'll have one ready by the time the program runs around. So then that happens, we reach out to you, we get those materials back from you, we check them, really kind of evaluate you guys all as a cohort to see that we're getting an inclusive group that will gel well together. And then phase 3 is we send out our invitation to participate in the program. And then at that point, you can sign your offer letter, put down a little deposit, and have your guardian or parent sign in as well. And then you are officially enrolled. So it's a little bit of a process, but it is all worth it. And it just takes a tiny bit of time. So you might not know right away, but we want to make sure that we're getting the right folks in.
Yeah, that's awesome. Another question that someone asked is, based on the timeline, are we only doing peer service for 1 week?
During like the foundation, the apprenticeship program. No, sorry, I can put it up again, but you're actually doing your apprenticeship for about 10 weeks, I believe. You're in Cape Town for about 12. And then the first week is like an orientation, just really getting your feet on the ground, understanding where things are, how do we do risk management, make sure that we're safe. And then the final week is our reflections course. So the time in between those 10 weeks, that is when you're doing your apprenticeship. Alex, do you want to share about your experience at all doing that?
Yeah, so the orientation, I'm not gonna lie, was kind of boring. They just had us sit around, but it was important. We talked about safety and all that stuff. And then after the orientation, you got 10 weeks of working. For me, I worked in a food distribution company, and I made like social media posts and videos and promotional content. And I did that for 10 weeks. But during those 10 weeks, it's not just work. Like they make you work Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 4 days. So you have 3 days to just do whatever you want. You can go out to literally anything because you're an adult at this point, and your group of friends can go out to restaurants, adventures, whatever you want, really. And that's kind of what was so fun about living in Cape Town.
And you got to do the culture series, right?
Yeah, that too.
Okay. Thank you.
Awesome. So The second part of the question is there a detailed example of kind of like the service that they'll do in South Africa? So like the different types of service projects or something like that.
Yeah, I'll answer this, and then if Alex wants to expand about his specific experience and kind of what his day-to-day looked like, you can do that. We have a database of about, I think, 50 different organizations, so no experience is the same given that. And so you'll work with either one or two of your peers in your cohort at like the same site maybe, but your experience will be different based off of where you're placed for that. So it's kind of hard to say. Some people, I believe, like will work in education spaces, but sometimes they're helping, lesson plan. I think some people are in like, we have like a broadcast radio station that we partner with. We don't own it. We partner with them, and they get to help, curate content there and help kind of behind the scenes on that. And then Alex, if you don't mind sharing maybe what you did in your day-to-day or some projects you got to work on.
Yeah, so I do remember there was a lot of different jobs. There was a radio station, like you said, but people really did anything because we just tried to get out there and help and fill in roles. So there were very many jobs. And even if you didn't like the ones that were selected, you could kind of just go and make one on your own. So if you found company and they were willing and everyone was willing, you could do that yourself. And in my day-to-day, I believe I woke up at like 9 o'clock, and then I got to my work at about 10 o'clock, and I might work till 3 or 4. And work, sometimes if they needed me on the floor, like moving around stuff, like crates and making sandwiches or whatever to help feed people, I would do that. And if they didn't, I might sit in a computer and help make some and edit some of those clips of people making sandwiches, making soup or whatever. And I would turn that into promotional content they could post online. So that was what I did.
Awesome. Thank you.
Great. Also, Leo has put a link in the chat box, which is the FAQ page for the Take Action Lab. So if you want more information, that's definitely a great resource to look at. And also Leo has put a couple of emails and also WeChats for y'all to contact in case you have any questions that you think about and come up after the seminar. All right, awesome. The next question is for the application video. What kind of application video could a candidate do to have a successful application?
Yeah, I think we'll have video prompts, but we just want to know who you are. So authentic. You don't have to make it high and fancy. Like you can add your special effects if you're Alex, because Alex is just really gifted with the media. But yeah, you could do it in front of a Zoom camera like this. It doesn't need to be anything fancy. We just want to hear who you are, hear your story. And that's mostly it. So we're not looking for you to perfect or make like an audition tape walking around showing us where you live. Just be yourself.
Sorry, I was muted. So the next question is kind of similar. So beyond just like the application video, I know that probably a bunch of people applied. So for that, kind of how do you distinguish who would be a successful candidate for the Take Action Lab?
Yeah, I think what we're looking for is, well, we just want to know who you are. First off, that's it. Like, please don't pretend to be someone you're not. We want somebody who's authentic, who is open-minded and curious, passionate about something. You can tell us what you're passionate about. We want to be able to feel it. Yeah, open-minded. I might have said that already. Yeah, we just want somebody who wants to be a part of the program, cares about an issue, a passion, and can really contribute in a positive way to their cohort, the experience of other people's and themselves. Like you, Alex.
Yeah. Be cool, be unique, be creative.
Yeah, Alex, do you want to kind of talk a little bit more about your application process as well? As somebody who's gone through it, maybe just share some anecdotes or stories.
I wrote about a lot of my real life experiences and how they, yeah, and how they changed me. I remember a lot of other of my friends as well. They had a lot of unique videos, and I would really say just try to be unique. Try to do something that other people haven't done before, which I know is kind of obvious, but I mean, that's how you do college applications too. For any application, you want to try and stand out, right?
Awesome. And I think someone raised their hand, Helen Lee. Do you want to unmute to ask your question? We can try to have our tech chair allow you to unmute. And if that's not working, feel free to type your question in the chat. So can our tech chair try to give Helen Lee, she has her hand raised, permission to unmute to ask the question? In the meantime, oh, awesome. Go ahead. So Helen, I think you should be able to unmute now. It's okay. While you're figuring that out, I'll ask another question that I see in the chat box. So part of the program is definitely the affordability. So I know you talk about how you have great financial.
Oh, sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I was wondering, for the service education in China, and I think that one of the challenges is when the students may helping out the local students for like a peer program, and sometimes with language and the cultural, especially for students who haven't lived there. Do you guys have any suggestions or any ideas in terms of students coping at the locally, or have any adjustment issue? Because I was a mentor before with the study board, and I can send you a WeChat, Allison, if you want later, after the meeting. If you want to send your WeChat, I ask in WeChat already. Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, I would appreciate it. So we sometimes help students coming to study in the US, and with the online tutoring and coaching, we encountered these problems when they were doing the exchange program. And I left my WeChat there, so you can send me later with more answers.
Yeah. Alex, did you raise your hand? Did you have something you wanted to say?
Yeah. Is she asking like about the culture for moving to Cape Town and how it's different, or am I misunderstanding?
Too bad of my mom.
Can you say that again?
Yeah, the cultural adjustments for from the local students and to the students who were coming, from North America, and sometimes they have the cultural adjustment. I was wondering if you have any suggestions on that. We actually had done the cultural competency program, but I feel sometimes they do encounter the local the local culture shock sometimes. Yeah.
I see what you mean. If I'm being honest, there's really not that much of a culture shock. Most of the stuff, I mean, we all speak English there, which is the primary language. Some people, like if you're Spanish or if you're Latin American, then you can speak Spanish, and someone else is also speak Spanish. Sure, you can speak Spanish together, but there's really not much of a culture shock. In South Africa, I mean, how do I put this? It's really not that much different. In America, I know that a lot of people drive around, but there we walked to get groceries instead of driving around. Other than that, you kind of just live on your own.
Oh, okay, I see.
But there's no big culture shock. There's nothing that's like, oh wow, that's so different. You wouldn't expect.
I see. Yeah, it's just I think it's a very exciting opportunity for everyone, you know, and
Yeah.
just anything that you wish you would do differently, or any suggestion on that in that regards, or to be better prepared, because we help the left behind children before in the mountain village. I think that's one of the things they wish they could have done or experience more is the hardship sometimes, you know, and to see the difference between where they're coming from and to help them appreciate more.
You mean appreciate the different cultures?
Yeah, just appreciate things that they have in the US, I guess, you know, not to take it for granted. The resiliency, I think that's the word, resiliency. Yeah.
Well, you are going to have to be resilient because, I mean, nothing's perfect. And sometimes you're going to have situations where you might not expect, they might not be what you intend in your head. But at the end of the day, there's really not much that I give you an example of a culture shock. In my story, I mentioned how some people cook Indian food, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know how to eat it because I'm Asian. I use chopsticks, you know, and they didn't give me any chopsticks. They didn't give me any fork or spoon, and I had to just learn how to eat with my hands. I remember that was very interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But other than that, there really isn't much. Maybe your roommate or someone you live by sleeps at a weird time, or they cook something. Other than that, you really won't have many culture shocks or something that'll disturb you much. So I think you shouldn't stress it too much, okay?
Yeah, I was asking for on behalf of my students. If there's a WeChat group, that would be great for more communication later, you know.
Yeah, that's an idea. I think to your point of preparing ourselves to be culturally competent, to be kind of aware of what to expect when we are in South Africa, that's what we try to build into the foundations course before we all get there. But
Okay,
also
thank you so much.
have you know, adults who are around, so you're not totally on your own. And if there are additional things that need to happen, or if there's additional support, you're not left high and dry. We have people there. So there, I want to make sure that your students would feel good about that. And I think culturally, South Africa is so diverse and it's so beautiful. And I'm not sure also if your question comes from a place of safety. I know South Africa can sound scary, it can sound so far, it can sound so different, but we do a lot of risk management. We do a lot of, you know, making sure our people feel safe, feel like they have the tools that they need to be successful and, again, safe in these spaces. And I think we're hoping that, you know, we don't want them to feel so comfortable, maybe that's not the right word, but we want them to feel like they're growing, that it's not like just moving to another neighborhood in their city. Like, we want them to be able to feel the difference of this country, of Cape Town, of the very palpable recent injustices that have been happening in that country for decades. And so there is always going to be a little bit of discomfort with growth. And so I think we want to lean into that with like a healthy level without making people feel too uncomfortable, but also making it so that this experience is really real for them. Does that answer your question? Go ahead.
I can also say that there were security guards where we lived. So if that makes you feel better, there's security guards that patrol the streets at night. So if you ever have to, they will walk you wherever you need to go. But like, even in America, you really shouldn't be walking out by yourself in the middle of the night. But even if you do, there's security guards everywhere. And we have adults, and there's always numbers that you can call and people are willing to help you.
All right, awesome. Helen, do you have any other questions for us?
Thank you. I'll be happy to collaborate. I don't know how many people in Boston on the call, but I gave my WeChat already. I will be happy to be involved with the WeChat group and introduce my students.
Thank you.
And Allison, if you have a WeChat, you can reply. I sent you a message too. Or your contact information. Or your contact information. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. So, next question. So somebody is wondering about the age requirements for the program. So as Leo said in the chat, students aged 17 to 21 at the start of the program are eligible to apply. So someone's wondering, is this age cutoff a strict cutoff, or is it okay to go beyond this age requirement?
Good question, and I'm gonna break your heart, and the answer is yes. It is a firm cutoff at 21. I wish I could do it. I am not 21, but would definitely like to. And if you have friends who you think, or siblings, or people in your community who you think would be a really good fit for this program, we would love to have them apply. And we are sorry that if you are over the age of 21, you are ineligible. So I apologize.
So the next question is this project suitable for those preparing to apply for a graduate program?
If that comes back to the age thing, again, like, yeah, the cutoff is going to be 21. If you're off to like look into undergrad and you're thinking, or you're already in undergrad and you're like, actually, maybe I want a little bit of a break. I want to take a semester and do Take Action Lab. You are more than welcome to do that as long as you are under 21. Yeah, we encourage you to apply.
Awesome. So, the next question is about financial aid. So, could you just talk a little bit more about your financial aid and scholarship offerings? I know you covered it a little bit before, but just in case some people might have missed it.
Absolutely. I'm just going to throw that in there. So financial aid, we look at everybody's financial situations when they apply. We encourage everybody to make sure that they are submitting their documents so that we can see what kind of financial aid we're able to provide. And if at the end, we go through our 3 phases, we give you your offer letter, tell you how much financial aid we're able to give you. And if that's still not enough, we encourage you to appeal and let us know maybe why or what amount would make this program participation feasible for you. So it's not an end-all be-all. We do really want to meet you where you're at. But in terms of like scholarships, we have like a educator nomination option. So if you have a teacher, like a community partner who is willing to nominate you and thinks that you would be a good fit for the program, they can submit that through our website, and you can just look up the nomination. It should be a link in there. And then you will get a $500 stipend off of your tuition if you get into the program. So that isn't nothing. Also, if you apply and you start referring your friends, you can get a referral of about, I think, $100. If your friend does it, they get $100 off of their tuition. So maybe have a friend refer you. Maybe if you ask nicely, Alex will refer you. But yeah, those are kind of our main options of scholarships and financial aid.
Awesome. So the last question that I see for now, unless anybody has any more, but I know we're coming up at the 10 p.m. mark. So the last question that I see is, how many others would be in the Take Action Lab cohort?
Oops, couldn't unmute for a minute. Yeah, it's about 50 young people are in these cohorts. And again, we try to have like a really balanced representation of young people from all over the world. So as you saw in the video, Myanmar, Zimbabwe, Ukraine, Colombia, Brazil, the United States, Canada, all of that. We try to have a diverse group of about 50 young people per cohort. So yeah, I think that is, I guess, our answer. Pretty straightforward.
Awesome. So at this time, I don't see any further questions in the chat box. This is your last chance to drop any that you may have before we log off today. Before we log off, I just wanted to thank you all again for joining our seminar today, but I also wanted to thank Allison and Alexander for coming in, sharing their time to tell us about this opportunity. So I always think that it's great to learn about new options. So thank you so much to both of you for sharing your knowledge, your insight, and your experiences. So if nobody else has any further questions, again, all of the contact information, website links for useful information have been sent in the chat. So I encourage you to copy paste those, save those down in case you need those later. With that being said, this will conclude our seminar for tonight. Thank you so much to all of y'all for coming out, and we hope to see you at the next one. Awesome. Bye, everyone. Thank you.